look at the fundamentals right now in the economy. There's a lot of consumer confidence. There's a lot of business confidence. The economy looks good. If you're the average American, you've got a tax cut now coming down the pipe. For the last couple of weeks, your income has been higher because of your paycheck getting bigger. Americans are confident, but there's this anxiety in the economy because of the trade and tariff war. And this is happening in communities in the Midwest where farmers are a very big constituency there. It's happening with manufacturers who are now seeing some of their income, seeing some of their inputs get more expensive. And that is the anxiety that we have zeroed in on as being the major concern moving into not only the next year, but the midterm elections, of course.
I guess there are two schools of thought about the economy and trade. One would be the economy is so good, this is when you do this kind of stuff because you have leverage.
Yeah.
The other school of thought would be, why is the White House trying to seemingly muck this up when they've got so much to crow about?
Well, and I come from the school of thought that it's never a good time to start a trade war. It's never a good time to increase taxes on Americans, which, of course, that's what tariffs are. They're taxes on consumers here. So you can look at the economy and say it's strong and it's okay to tinker around the edges with it. But particularly in our political environment right now, moving into November, if you're the president, you have to be wondering, why would I take the steps that would dim the economic enthusiasm that we have going into these midterms? You know, Republicans right now should be running on the strength of the economy and what they've done with the tax cuts and the president's deregulatory agenda. Trade completely muddles that message.
There seems to be one gentleman in the White House who has the ear of the president. It may be our friend and former colleague Larry Kudlow, but more specifically, it is Peter Navarro. Yeah. And I know there's been some talk that Navarro is in some ways secretly a Democrat and is coming out with some of these sort of pro-union, pro-labor, pro-U.S. ideas that may be the problem. Does Peter Navarro need to go?
I mean, Brent, let's call these policies what they are. They're protectionist in nature. And that's exactly what the goal is for these tariffs. For Peter Navarro, it's not just a negotiating tactic. It's not just leverage, as we've seen the president try to employ tariffs again and again and again. Tariffs are an end in and of themselves. And as we mentioned before, they're harmful to the economy. They're harmful to Americans. So all the Americans who thought that President Trump was their guy in the White House, who's going to stand up for the little guy, who's going to shake things up and really get the economy gunning for them again, there's this guy who's got the president's ear who doesn't necessarily have those same objectives in mind.
What do you think his objectives are?
Well, I think that you see his writing on the subject. You see that he was a Democrat running for the House in 1996.
That's why I referenced those principles.
Exactly. All of his economic theory is completely at odds with what the president has expressed as the future for the United States. Free markets, getting rid of the tax burden as one of the major barriers to growth, all of the things that Donald Trump has done, Peter Navarro has a long record of arguing that is not the vision he has for the future.
And so what do you think needs to be the next steps? From a taxpayer perspective, what's the best outcome? What should the White House be doing?
I think the White House, first and foremost, needs to give a clear picture of what its trade objectives are. And if tariffs are just a negotiating tactic, they should move forward by saying to China, I mean, the EU is a good example here. You've got the president saying zero tariffs, zero non-tariff barriers, zero subsidies. I 100% agree with that philosophy.
This while at the same time talking about new auto tariffs.
Exactly right. But I think when you look at the EU, you see that tariffs are a negotiating tactic. They're not an end in and of themselves. All of the serious economists surrounding the president agree that tariffs are a bad economic move, and we need to see policy that reflects that.